This video will walk you through Saguaro National Park, located in Tucson, Arizona. And I always start a little bit with getting to the park and knowing some stuff about getting around it, especially if you're a family who travels with an RV and needs to know RV specific information. Then we'll go through and show you different parts of the park and things to see. And then I have a couple add-ons of different things to see in Tucson that you won't want to miss, and a little bit about camping. And most of the video you're seeing here is going to be from October. It's during the pandemic, so you can see we're wearing masks sometimes. I just wanted to start by showing you the park map, and I-10 is where you're coming down from Phoenix down into Tucson. So Tucson's located just off of the I-10 in the southern part of Arizona, and Saguaro National Park is actually both on the west side and on the east side of town. So the east side of town is a larger landmass, but I feel like a lot of times when people come here, they actually spend their time more so on the west side. And I'll show you some of the things that are on the west side. We've been here a few times and we've never actually stopped and gone over to the east side. I can show you what the east side looks like real quickly because it is on the park map as well. And so you can see on the east side, they kind of have a visitor center on this located spot right here. And then there's a little one-way path that you can take if you're in a regular vehicle, not RV friendly. But you can take this, and then there's a lot of different trails that you can hike. Sometimes you can bike, and you can even horseback ride in these areas. And there's outfitters that you can hire if you don't have your own horses and you want to have an experience of horseback riding, and you can do horseback riding through this area. But let's talk a little bit about the west side, because I think most people are probably coming and they're going to visit the West District. So if you are in an RV and you're trying to do this as just kind of a pass through, you're just stopping at Saguaro National Park and you're not really staying here, you only have two options, and that's from the 10, you can come on this Avra Valley Road and get to this Sendario Road that goes along the park from north to south, or you can take this Ajo Way, and then you can take that north and south. When we were in our vehicle, in our Jeep, we were able to take these smaller roads, this Picture Rock or Gate Pass Road. I think we left from Gate Pass Road, and when we came in, we came up over through here. And so you have a lot more options, plus being in the park, you have options to do these different scenic loops if you're just in a regular vehicle. So I highly recommend that you don't just treat this as a pass through. It is definitely worth your time to stay in Tucson with your RV and then have your other vehicle and do this as a day trip. And one day I think is plenty sufficient unless you decide you want to visit both sides, and then it's about an hour time to get from one side to the other. So you may want to do that if you have multiple days to visit the area. And I'll show you a few other things that are worth seeing in Tucson. So this is just a detailed map of what that west side looks like. And if you're coming up from this Kinney Road over here, or Gate Pass Road over here, this is showing you where old Tucson Studios is at. I'll show you that in the video after Saguaro. And then the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum is over here, and I'll show you that at the end of the video for Saguaro. Also, because these two spots are great to see with or without kids, but trust me, your kids are going to love these two locations, definitely, but even big kids like them as well. And then when you're coming up here, you can stop at the visitor center. That's the first place we go in our video, and so I'll show you that in just a second. And then we went ahead and did this whole Bajada scenic loop, and we stopped at Signal Hill to look at the petroglyphs and have a little picnic lunch and hike up here before continuing on and continuing out. So let's get to some of that video. So we always stop by the visitor center first to talk to the rangers, pick up any hike information and guides, get the junior ranger information and things like that. So this is at the Red Hills Visitor Center on that west side. And just a mile north of that, you can actually get to the first trail, the Desert Discovery Nature Trail, and that's only a half-mile loop that is paved, and that's a nice option if you need wheelchair accessibility or strollers and stuff like that. We are actually now starting up on the Bajada Loop Drive, and this is a 5-mile loop drive, and it is a great thing to plan to just do for the day. It'll take you, I guess if you were just kind of driving through it quickly, you could probably get that done in about an hour, but we definitely were taking our time, stopping, taking lots of photos of the different saguaros along the way. It does go one way for part of the journey, and it's two-way in some of the locations. You definitely cannot take your motorhome through it, so you definitely need to be in a passenger vehicle. You also want to be sure that you have plenty of water and any food, and you've already made bathroom breaks. There is a spot by Signal Hill Road where you can use pit toilets, but it's always nice to have a real toilet before you head out into the heat. Many places along this loop have these interpretive signs that will tell you more about the desert and the trees and everything that you're looking at and how to get back onto different trails. And they mention in the guide that you should probably plan for a gallon of water a person. So if you decide you want to go ahead and do some hiking through the park, be sure that you are properly hydrated. And remember, the elevation is over 8,000 feet up here. So it is definitely the kind of place where you can have some altitude sickness if you're not used to being at those types of elevations. Saguaro National Park was actually the first park that was made in part to preserve a specific plant. The saguaro plants actually grow really slowly, so only like an inch or two during the first 6 to 8 years, and it could be 70 years before they start to sprout those branches or the arm-looking things that they have, and then they reach their full height, which is about 40 to 50 feet, when they are 150 years of age. Other smaller cactus you might see are the prickly pear cactus and the barrel cactus and even the cholla cactus. Those ones are kind of the fuzzy looking ones, but trust me, don't touch them. That'll really hurt. Here we are stopping at the Signal Hill picnic area, and there's some tables set up here so you can stop and have a little bite to eat. There's some pit toilets as well. There's no water though, so be sure to bring that water. And then there's a 0.3 mile round trip little trail that doesn't go very far, but it kind of goes a little bit up a hill, and it lets you see a bunch of drawings that were etched into the rock. So this is pretty much the area where you have petroglyphs. And I believe that was one of the reasons we chose to go to the west side, is so that we could see the petroglyphs, because I don't believe there are any petroglyphs on the east side. Now, our oldest daughter did end up getting stung by a wasp while we were there at that picnic table, and we didn't notice any bees and stuff in the area when we first got in there, but she was stung, and it was just kind of a reminder that there's still wildlife here. And honestly, a wasp sting was a lot less of an issue than other things could have been. Other animals that they could have here include javelinas, obviously rattlesnakes, and they get the big western diamondback rattlesnakes. We did not see any while we were here on our trip, but we were also very much so staying on the trails, which is a safer bet because you can see if they're sunning and laying out on the trails, and it's usually in the brush and stuff like that where they're more likely to be anyway. So if you stay on the trails, then you're probably a little bit safer from those snakes. This is probably a good time to mention when to go here as well. So the park is really best to visit from really October timeframe, because September can still be pretty hot in Tucson. So October timeframe going on till maybe about April, and then it starts to heat up again. So throughout the winter, the temperature is very comfortable, sometimes getting down to like 60s, but I mean, you don't even need a coat with that for a lot of us. But over the summer months, it's well over 100, especially in the July, August, and September range. So I would avoid visiting during those times. They do have a few backcountry places where you can camp by permit, but for those of us with RVs, you're gonna have to find lodging outside of the park, and I'll give you an option of where we stayed, which we really liked towards the end of the video. And then in terms of lodging, you're also gonna have to find somewhere in town. Another place you will definitely want to visit, because it's just a few minutes down the road, is the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum. And this is a great museum. This is not part of the NPS system. This is a private museum, so it does have a fee. The tickets are somewhere around like $30 for adults and $20 for kids. And then they do have like military and senior discounts and stuff like that. They have beautiful paved areas or good walkway areas and lots of interpretive signs. You can see we're here in the butterfly area. So there's a bunch of really cool butterflies and flowers. So it's the natural desert flowers that you would have, but they really have them all pulled together into this one location. So you can really get a feel for all the different types of beautiful plants and flowers and insects and stuff that you would find throughout the desert that you may not necessarily see through your time in Saguaro. They also have some areas that are indoor, so if you need a little bit of a break from the heat, you can go see some of the indoor items, aquarium type items. So lots to see here. If you need to rent strollers or wheelchairs and stuff like that, they even have that available. The people we know who live here in Tucson, they're members because they just love coming here. There's so many things to see and do. And again, it's probably only about 10-minute drive down from that west side visitor center from the Saguaro National Forest, or National Park. There's even a lot of hands-on exhibits.
And there's a tiny stinger here. That they get. Right now. No, they're grown-ups. We've had babies though.
Hi, dude. Look at him. Look at this one.
Talking back.
And the other place you have to check out while you are here is Old Tucson, which are studios where they've actually done filming and stuff over the years, but they also have a bunch of rides and different attractions and things that go on here. So the general admission here is closer to like $25 an adult, $20 for kids, and then you can either pay for some ride tickets and stuff like that, or you can pay a bigger admission fee and then kind of have like a rides and attractions wristband deal that lets you get into all those items. So the type of things you can see, like right now we're looking at a reenactment. So they have a big stage area a seating area, like a stadium seating, where everybody's sitting there and you can watch the Old West show, and it feels like you're getting to see a movie being made, which is a lot of fun, and they do a great job with the show. They also have things like a train, a carousel, there's a Pony Express, kids car ride, calf roping, mini golf thing. There's a little tram tour that goes around the back lot, horse-drawn wagon ride, a petting zoo, so all sorts of stuff. Some little shops and places where you can buy candy and different goodies and things like that. So it's just this really fun place that kids and adults all love. They have some indoor shows as well that are kind of going on throughout your time. So once you've paid admission, you're able to go in and really enjoy all that stuff. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is where to stay. So this is the Tucson KOA Resort. We love staying here. I wish that Phoenix had something like this, but it is a big resort. There's multiple pools. We've stayed here multiple times. There are places that are sun shielded so that your RV stays nice and cool. There's places that have that upper patio that you saw, which is the kind of site that we stayed at the last time we were here. So there's a bunch of different options. They have tons of kids entertainment and games and activities and stuff that they do, and it's a nice location kind of on the south part of town, and it's easy to get to the other things that you want to see in Tucson. We have a whole video that's just on this RV park, and I'll link to that down below in the comments. So I hope this video helped you to see why Tucson, Arizona, and specifically Saguaro National Park should definitely be on your list of places to visit. I hope you enjoyed watching. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at RV Homeschool. Thanks so much.